Hello and welcome to or welcome back to my channel Stitches Past 5. My name is Vera and today I'm going to do another knitting podcast. I like doing these podcasts because I get to share what I'm working on with you guys. And yeah, so I actually posted my last podcast like 2 weeks ago, but I've actually knit a lot in the last 2 weeks. We've been on holiday, we went on a road trip through the Balkan, which was so exciting, which was so fun and just a very different type of holiday. And we drove around 3,000 kilometers, which meant that while I did drive some, there were 4 of us, so we also got a lot of time just kind of sitting in the car, waiting at borders, so that meant a lot of knitting for me. So I kind of wanted to give updates on my projects, show you the projects that I finished, and yeah, talk a little bit about knitting and what's going on and so on and so forth. So now we are back home, of course. We are in a new apartment, which I think I shared last time already, but now it really feels like we're settling in here. We're nowhere near having everything finished, but it's definitely coming together quite nicely. But we're still in the same city, so not much else is new there. Where we are, we're in Austria and we're in the mountains, so it's been like the summer has kind of taken a few days on and off, it feels like. As you can see, I'm wearing a sweater today because it's not that warm. Yeah, we've been getting a lot of rain. Some days we don't see the mountains at all because they're just in clouds. But definitely, like, even if it's rainy, there's a warmer undertone, but also just has meant that I've been able to wear my knits a lot more, because I find that when it's super hot, like when it's over 30 degrees, I can't really bear wearing even my knitted t-shirt or tank tops because it's just like a little bit thicker than a normal tank top. So it's kind of been nice because I've been able to wear my knitted t-shirts and tank tops a little bit more. But let's get right into it. The first thing I want to share is what I'm wearing, and it's also my finished object of today's podcast. And this is the Cosima Sweater by Gregoria Fibres, and this was actually a test knit that I believe is actually still running at the end of until the end of August, but I'm allowed to talk about it. I'm allowed to like share it. It's not a secret test knit or anything. And yeah, so about the specs of this, it is this like high V-neck sweater that is knit at a 19 stitch and 28 row gauge and 10 centimeters. I knit this one on 4.5mm needles, and I made a size 2. When the sweater comes out, I definitely recommend looking at the pattern. It's a beautiful, beautiful pattern, and I have worn this sweater basically nonstop until I cast it off on my trip. But yeah, it is, I knit this up on 2 skeins of the Knitting for Olive merino. So it's this one right here. This is the color Unicorn Purple, and it was actually my first time knitting in the Knitting for Olive yarn. I ordered it off their website. I think I got like a 10% discount code because it was like my first order. And yeah, no, that's a lie. It was my second order. I don't know how I got the 10% discount code, but anyways, I kind of wanted to go with a like a colder color. I think I talked about that a little bit in my last podcast, and I'm really happy that I did. I was a little bit worried that the yarn was going to be too pale because it is a very faint purple. I find that like depending on the light you look at it in, it's more purple or more gray. So I was a little bit cautious about it being a little bit too gray when I first got it, because I had this both times now. I've ordered off of Knitting for Olive twice. This is the first time I'm knitting with it. I still have the other yarn for a different project, but both times I've kind of had a little bit of a color matching issue, where the first one was completely my own fault because I had the True Tone on my laptop when I was ordering the yarn, and we thought we were ordering kind of like a brown, like a yellowy brown yarn, which then came and turned out to be like a grayish brown yarn. It was the color, I think, Dark Moose, or yeah, Dark Moose. And with this one, I thought it was going to be more purple than it looks like. Now in this light, it actually does look kind of more purple, but I don't know, sometimes it really just looks more gray. I'm totally like okay and really happy with like how the color turned out here, but a little bit more purple would have been nice, I think, and also what I was expecting ordering it. But I guess you'll always have a little bit of that when you're ordering yarn online versus when you're in a shop and you can actually look at it. In terms of the knit itself, I knit this up so quickly. I don't know where the line between very motivated and stressed was in this project. Essentially, it was a pretty quick test knit. I think we had like 5 weeks. I mean, I'm done it now with a week to spare because I was just very motivated. So I made like basically half the sweater in one weekend, and then I finished it up on the various car rides that we had. It's an all over stockinette sweater, and then you add the collar at the end. It's an all over stockinette sweater, as you can see here, and then the cuffs and the collar band are ribbed. And I think the showcase, or the like where your eye goes to on the sweater, is definitely like this V at the top or at the front here, which is worked in a way that I had never like done before, so that was really cool. I definitely learned something. So I'm not sure when the pattern comes out. Keep an eye out on Gregoria Fibres for the Cosima sweater, and for now, super happy with it. I've literally worn it like almost every single day. I've worn it to work, I've worn it on my trip. The yarn is not itchy at all. I now understand why so many people love the knitting for olive merino. It's super like it's like a light wool sweater, I would classify it as. It doesn't feel suffocating in the way maybe like an alpaca would, but it's also like definitely will keep you warm. We were sitting outside on the balcony and it was like 10 to 15 degrees out yesterday, and like I was, you know, just wearing this sweater. So yeah, definitely a wool that I'm looking forward to using again. For this whole sweater, and like I said, I made the second size, I used, I think it was 438 grams of this. I held a double, so that equates to just under 2,200 meters, like single, so 1,100 meters, like as the DK weight that came out of it double, which means that I have 4 skeins left because I just needed to make sure that I have more than enough, and I knew that I was going to be able to use this yarn for other projects. So with the 4 skeins, I think I gave 1 skein to a friend, so I guess I have like 3 and bit skeins now left. But with that, I'm thinking of making some sort of like a summer top or a t-shirt, likely next year. But yeah, I know that I'll be able to use it anyways, and I feel like I'm going to order more of this yarn because I've just had a really good knitting experience with it. So now moving on and onto my works in progress. This is the only finished item that I had to share today. I knew I wanted to finish this item that I'm going to share as my work in progress by this video, but essentially I didn't take it on the trip and I was working on a lot of other things on my trip, and I just picked this back up. So that is my Sabai top. This is a pattern by Paula Strickt or Susanne Müller, and it looks like this right now. It's pretty similar to what I showed last time, but I did knit on it, like I said, a little bit. I'm making the version with the rib at the top. It comes in 2 different versions, with and without the rib, but I went for with the rib because I have a feeling I'm going to make multiple of these. I think they just look so nice. So I'm making this on 4mm needles with this DK weight yarn, which is the soft cotton. So this one right here, it's called soft cotton and it's by Lana Grossa, and it is essentially a mix of cotton, and it is essentially a mix of 70% cotton and 30% polyacrylic or polyacryl, and I love it. It's so soft. I think if you're ever looking for a yarn to knit anything for children or babies with, this is like, I'm gonna keep this in mind if I ever gift knit or something. It's so soft. I cannot describe how soft this yarn is, and it also has this beautiful shine to it. So I don't know if you can like see it here on camera. Yeah, you can. It has this beautiful like shine to it, which I know some people don't like, but I really like it, especially for a summer garment. I think that's so pretty. And yeah, so far very happy with it. The gauge is 20 stitches, so I know that this will be a quick finish. I think I'm going to focus a little bit more energy on it now, that hopefully next podcast it will be done. I know I said that last time, but clearly I didn't make it very far. But yeah, the pattern, very beginner friendly. Everyone's knitting it right now, it feels. But I just really hope that I can get it done before the summer goes away, because it feels like the summer is already like on its way out. Some leaves are already turning orange here. So yeah, that is my Sabai top by Paula Strickt. So not too much to report on this one as of now. Then another project that I cast on during our road trip was the sock. So I've been itching to kind of like just freehand socks, maybe write it into a pattern or something. And then I made one and then I got discouraged. So this is the one I made. It features this ruffles at the top, and then I made it into like a 3x1 rib here. I did a what's it called, flap and gusset, I think, heel, and then I just kind of continued here. I don't know, I'm not happy with it. It's, first of all, it's really long. I mean, I do have relatively large feet, but it might be like a little bit too long. Maybe it's also because the heel just looks a bit off here. I think the main issue I have with this though is that when I put it on, I can really see like the holes through it, like here, and I just really don't like that. So I think it's a yarn issue that I'm having. So far, I'm really happy with the ruffles because I've never like knit anything with ruffles before. So I'm really happy with like how this part turned out. But then here, especially like the heel where I picked up the stitches, I mean, you can already see it when I kind of like put my hands in, right? It's just a very see-through yarn. And yeah, so I think I'm either going to remake the sock in a different yarn and then ideally write a pattern for it. But yeah, I'm also not really sure about the 3x1 rib. Maybe I want to make a lace something. I don't know, I'm not happy with the yarn, I think, is my main takeaway. I still wanted to share it because I mean, not every knitting project is gonna be like, yay, I'm so happy with it, like the sweater, like, but yeah, I'm not too sure about it right now. I think it just looks so big as well. I don't know what it is. I mean, I haven't blocked it yet either. For reference, this yarn is in the color white by I think it's the yarn company Opal, and yeah, maybe I should have used smaller needles. I used the regular sock needles, but I guess sometimes that's just how it is. I kind of like saw this coming when I was already here, but I still chose to finish the sock. I mean, I think I knit socks relatively quickly. I think this one took me around 2 days to make, but yeah, I'm not really sure about it. But that's okay. So I'm gonna put it down. I will definitely like use the ruffles again because I think this part is super cute up here, like all the little ruffles here. But the rest of it I'm just not a fan of, and that's totally fine, and that is okay. I'll see if I like wear it, if I'm okay with it. Maybe I will make the second one. Right now it's just one. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to share that. I guess it's a work in progress. It's very likely a work in progress that will be frogged because I'm not happy with it. But anyways, I've been talking about my trip, and essentially we went for 10 days and we just basically did a bunch of driving, looked at a lot of different countries, a lot of different cities, and yeah, it was a very interesting trip overall in terms of history and just, you know, seeing new places, maybe places that don't have so many tourists just yet. So I took the sweater to finish it, and then I took the socks, and I thought that will be plenty, that will be more than enough, because I mean, on holiday I usually don't go on holiday to knit. I usually knit a little bit less. But because we were spending so much time in the cars, and especially at the borders, we waited between, I would say, 1 and 4 hours at each of the borders, and we went to, I think it was 6 different countries, so you can do the maths. I kind of felt like, or I knew that I wanted another project, and while I had the extra skeins of the Knitting for Olive with me, I did find a yarn shop in Sarajevo, which is the capital city of Bosnia, that I was just really excited by. I did look at different yarn shops. I looked at yarn shops in Belgrade. I looked at a yarn shop in Skopje. So Belgrade is the capital of Serbia. Skopje is in northern Macedonia. But they weren't really, you know, my vibe, or I wasn't really like gonna buy stuff there. But that was totally fine, and I was just happy looking and seeing what yarn shops in different countries look like. Then we went to Montenegro for a few days, but we were in the mountains, so there was no yarn to be shopped there. And then after Montenegro, we went to Sarajevo in Bosnia, and then we found this yarn shop, which was really exciting. And I bought a lot of yarn, which I will share later on. But this is relevant because it's part of my next work in progress. So we were 4 of us, 2 friends, and then one of my friends, he wanted me to knit something for him, and he specifically wanted a sweater vest for the winter. So this is what it looks like at the moment. Here we are. I drafted this myself, so it's kind of like a self-drafted pattern. I will probably also write a pattern for this. It is a men's sweater vest, and he really likes it kind of more baggy. It's definitely like the style around here in the city I'm in, or in the town I am, is kind of like the more baggy style. So that's kind of where this vest is going. I knit about half of this on the trip, and then I continued a little bit today, and now it looks like this. In terms of the specs, I'm making it in this yarn, which is by Etrofil. Is that right? Etrofil. Which, like I said, I purchased in this yarn shop in Sarajevo. I'll link it down below. This is, although I looked at this and I was like, wow, it's Italian yarn, right? Because the Italian flag is there. But then the shopkeeper actually let me know that it is designed in Italy, but it's actually Turkish yarn. So the company Etrofil is a Turkish company that is, I think, one of the biggest Turkish companies of yarn, for yarn. But all their yarn is designed in Italy, and I guess commercially designed in Italy sounds good, so that's why they put it like on their tags. He chose this yarn himself, so he chose a yarn that is 60% merino, and I think it's 40% acrylic, yep. And this is a 50-gram balls which runs 160 meters. The only thing is that on the tag here, it says that on 4mm needles, the gauge will be 23 stitches and 28 rows. And I was already skeptical of this because you can see like how thick this yarn is. It's like a DK weight yarn for sure. So I thought 23 stitches is very little. And when I made my little gauge swatch, I had 20 stitches on 4mm needles. I think I've never been further off the tag of a yarn. But that worked out because I think for a winter sweater it's a little bit nicer to have a bit of a thicker gauge, especially for a sweater vest. So we went with this one. It is a color, it's color 70410. So it's this like grayish green. I'm gonna try to like get my camera to show it. Here you can kind of see it well. It has like a tint of green, but it's mainly like a brownish gray yarn. And in every light it's either gray or green or brown, which is really cool, I think. Oh yeah, I should probably say what yarn it is. It's the Etrofil Bambino Luxe Wool. I checked and they have a really big online site as well where you can seemingly order this Turkish yarn. It was not expensive at all, although it's 60% merino. I think one of these balls was like €2, maybe. No, it wasn't €3. It was like €2.50 or something like that. Super affordable. And so far it's knitting up really nicely. So I'll show it to you again. This is what it looks like. Yeah. In terms of the construction that I chose for this vest, I did a regular cast on at the shoulder seam, and then I just kind of worked the front back on both sides, joined it together, then did the same thing, like picked up the stitches on the back shoulder, worked the back side on one side, worked the back side on the other side, joined them together again, and yeah, then I just picked up and knit the collar like today, so because I wanted to make sure that the collar wasn't too big. With these type of constructions, before you put the collar, you really don't know what the garment is going to be like or like how it's going to look. So I kind of wanted to put in the collar before I continue the whole body just to make sure it's okay. But I'm really, really happy with it. I chose a 1x1 ribbing for the collar with a tubular bind off right here. And yeah, so now all it is, I need to just finish the body, and then I think I'll add a little bit more ribbing on the sides here, but not too much. Yeah, so I think my dream, or like my ideal thing that's going to happen with this vest, is that I write a pattern for it. I've been writing down everything that I've done for it so far, but I would love to write a pattern for it, which I will definitely need test knitters for, so keep an eye out for that. And that hopefully we get a few more like nice men's patterns, because I think I mentioned this before, and I think there's so many beautiful patterns for females or women out there, but I think sometimes it's a little bit harder to find, or at least for me to find, knits for either my partner or my friends. So I kind of like, I don't know, I've just felt like designing something and making like a nice male sweater vest. I think it'll be more of a unisex though. I think after knitting this, I might make one for myself, because I mean, I think it'll work. So maybe I'll try to do that. Please give your opinions down below. I would love to hear them. And yeah, I will share my updates on the next podcast, and then hopefully I'll write a pattern that can be test knitted, but that will probably take a few weeks. But keep an eye out. Then my next work in progress is one that I've been trying to share, but sometimes I genuinely just forget, or sometimes nothing happens on it. But at the beginning of the year, I started a temperature blanket. So this is where we are right now with a temperature blanket. I think I might need to like step away from it. No, that works. So this is what it looks like. And I mean, holding it away like this, I think it's so cool already. I have a bit of a like, I love it, because I think also now just with the colors up here, it's really interesting. Like there's so much going on. I think this year is also just a very special year, because you know, we're engaged and we're, you know, doing a lot of things. So it's kind of nice to be able to remember this year with a temperature blanket. I'm crocheting this in the Drops Cotton Light yarn. So I have a bunch of these. They are kind of like diminishing slowly, which was also kind of my aim, because I just had so much of this in stash and I kind of wanted to get rid of it. And yeah, I'm using a moss stitch with a 4mm crochet hook, and it just takes a very long time, and sometimes I do feel like this is taking away from my knitting time. I never really do like one row per day. I think right now I'm somewhere in the middle of July with it, so it's not too bad, but it's definitely one of those things. It's like, if I'm gonna work on it, I want to work on it like to catch up, or kind of to finish a number of rows. So I'm not really sure if I'll do another temperature blanket next year. I'm definitely happy I'm doing it this year, but especially at the moment, because it is summer and it is just kind of like a lot on you, I'm not working on it too much, but even just looking at it in the little viewfinder here, I'm getting more motivated to continue it. So yeah, I'll definitely finish this one. Maybe I'll finish it during the next year, but it will be finished. And yeah, I guess I'm over halfway now, so that's kind of fun. Yeah, it's a cotton polyester mix, and it has a lot of weight to it already, which is kind of nice. For blankets, I definitely like a nice heavy blanket, but this is already like pretty, yeah, I don't know how much it weighs, but pretty heavy. So I'm excited to see like where it ends up. But yeah, that's my quick temperature blanket check-in. I don't know if it's that interesting. I mean, I'm just crocheting rows like all the time, but it is kind of cool to see how it's growing and so on and so forth. I also don't know if anyone is even making temperature blankets still. I think it was a big thing like a few years ago. But I am, so here it is. In terms of my future cast-ons, I'm not sure if I will cast on that many new things in the future. I know last podcast I said I will cast on the Numo pullover, which I will still. I really want to finish the vest, and I really want to finish my Sabai top, and I also have the Margot top, which I haven't done anything on, so I didn't even share it today. But I really want to work on those and make sure those are finished, so I can kind of go in with like a blank slate or clean slate like into the autumn knits. So yeah, not too many costs on the horizon at the moment, but something I do want to share is the yarn that I purchased in Sarajevo. I already talked about it a bunch, but I did buy some more yarn because I just couldn't really walk away from that shop without purchasing some of the beautiful Turkish yarns that they had there. Yeah, so prior to seeing all the yarns in that shop, I knew that Turkish wool or Turkish yarn was definitely a really big thing. I know that there is a lot of yarn, or that the yarn industry in Turkey is quite significant, but I never really come across it because I find that the yarn shops around here, they usually feature either yarns from Italy, I would say Germany, Scandinavian countries, and so on and so forth. So it's not that easily accessible. So yeah, so this company Etrofil was the one that was mainly featured in this yarn shop, and I did check that, and they do have a pretty large online website where apparently you can order a lot of their yarns as well. So if you're looking to experience Turkish yarns, or if you also don't have access to them and you just want to try it out, like, I can probably recommend it. I have not really used a lot of the yarns, of course, because I'm just back from my trip, but if it's something that you're interested in, I would definitely recommend checking out their website. It's mostly in English as far as I could see, but yeah. So let me show you what I picked up. I essentially picked up 3, or I guess 2 sweater quantities, and then the vest, which I already shared. The first one is this one. So it is the Blueface Leicester wool. And this is 100% wool. It doesn't say where the wool was sourced from, but the color is this deep burgundy red. I just love this color so much. I think it'll be super nice, especially around Christmas and in the winter. And this is a 100-gram skein, which supposedly runs 240 meters. The suggested needle size is 5 millimeters, and the gauge here that it says is 22 stitches and 30 rows and 10 centimeters. After my whole vest gauge difference though, I'm not so sure about that, but it's okay. It's definitely a DK weight yarn, which should give me a DK weight gauge, so I'm not really worried about it. So yeah, it is weird in a way to buy Blueface Leicester, because that's typically like a British fleece or a British wool, like from Turkey, but I guess they just process it there. So I'm curious to compare it, because so far I've used the Blueface Leicester fleece by the Yorkshire Spinning Company, but that was so much more expensive than this one. So I think for one of these skeins I paid around €5.50 for 100 grams, which is very, very affordable compared to some of the other Blueface Leicester wool or fleeces that I've seen around. So I'm really curious to try it out. It is 100% wool. It is a little bit like, it's not the softest, I would say. It's not super coarse either though, and I feel like it's not going to be too itchy. I'm not too sure yet. I will definitely report back once I use it in a project, but for now I'm really happy because I was able to pick up 6 skeins of this. I have no idea what I'm going to make out of it, but I'm sure there'll be a nice sweater or cardigan that I will use this yarn in. Then the first yarn I actually bought in the shop is this one. So it's from the same company, and it is the Vintage Organic Hand Paint. I guess that's the name of this yarn. And this one is a little bit of a thicker yarn. My guess is like a worsted weight yarn. And it is this beautiful color. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to see how this knits up. They didn't have knitted like swatches anywhere, so I really have no idea how this will knit up. I think it'll be a little bit more pink and like red than neutral, but I just could not resist. This was so beautiful, and it sounds like it's hand painted, I guess, the way it's dyed. This is also 100% wool, organic wool. It doesn't say where the wool is from, but the gauge for this one is 12 stitches and 18 rows in 10 centimeters on 6 to 7 millimeter needles. Yeah, this one I believe more with the gauge because it is a quite thick yarn. I picked up I think I picked up 7 of these skeins. Yes, I did. I picked up 7 of these skeins. So I'm really excited to kind of make an outdoor sweater or cardigan, like a sweater that I could just wear without needing a jacket, even if it's a little bit colder outside. Because we do spend a lot of time outside here, and yeah, I think it's not always the warmest. I'm really hoping to make a nice sweater out of it. Yeah, in terms of the color, this color is called Lilium Art, and they definitely had a lot of really beautiful marled, I guess it's marled, what do you call it? It's like a hand-dyed yarns in all kind of different colors, like, but this is just the one that spoke to me the most. I think this is also kind of like my color, like the red, the pink, I love it. And yeah, I'm just super excited about this one as well. I hadn't actually shopped large quantities of yarn in a yarn shop in a really long time. And I think it's definitely such a nice experience, especially compared to shopping for yarn online. And I was just so happy in it. The other yarn that I bought, of course, is this one, also from Etrofil. And this is the one, the merino acrylic blend that I'm using in the vest. One thing I did notice about the yarn shops all over the Balkan, like I said, I did go to a number, or I tried to go to one in like every city. If it was kind of like within walking distance, of course there were 4 of us, and it was a little bit like, I'm not going to make everyone walk across the whole city just so I can still go see a yarn shop. But what I really noticed is that there was a lot more acrylic and like synthetic fibers around there, a little bit less wool, and definitely, even though like 100% wool at a much cheaper price point. This was the most expensive one I bought, and one skein here was also maybe €6, maybe €6.50 or something like that. So really affordable, and yeah, but definitely not as much like wool selection. Even most wools, they were mixes where it would be like, I don't know, 10% wool and then 90% some sort of synthetic fiber. I do love my natural fibers, so I kind of went more with those, but I have absolutely nothing against a wool mix. So yeah, those were my acquisitions, more than usual. I'm kind of like trying not to buy too much yarn at the moment because I have more than enough and more. But I also just kind of see this as a little souvenir from our trip. I'm at a point now where I have like almost a sweater or an item from like my most recent travels. I have like a Scotland sweater I made for my partner. I have a Riga in Latvia sweater that I made for my partner. Now I have this yarn, and I just really enjoy kind of shopping for yarn when on holiday and then making a piece that remembers that place. So yeah, I'm very curious to see what I make this into. No plans right now, but that's totally fine. They will look so beautiful on my shelf. I'm already excited, and I hope they look even more beautiful in a knitted up item. So that's the end of my knitting podcast for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely, like I said, I mean, I had a week and a half off of work where I was able to, knit a lot because of all our traveling. And although it was really warm in the car and everything, I really didn't mind. I was just really happy to, just take the car time and knit. I can't read in a car anyways, because I get car sick, but knitting is no issue because I can still look out the window. So those were all my updates about my projects. I really hope to get my summer tops finished because it is kind of the end of August now, and we never know what September weather here is like. It could be hot, it could be cold, we don't know. It's really cold right now, so not too sure. But I will share more updates in my next podcast. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a like, maybe comment down below what you're currently working on. And if you want to stick around, I would love for you to subscribe. I post videos around about every single week, just about my knitting life and other things that are going on in my fiber arts, mainly knitting, let's be honest. But I would love to have you around. And until next time, I guess. Take care. Bye.